Eh bien le bonjour et bienvenue sur le Range Gaming Live. Comment allez-vous aujourd'hui? Donc, alors aujourd'hui on se retrouve sur The Outer World. Wow, quelle prononciation impeccable. Je ne sais pas à quoi m'attendre, donc allons-y sans plus tarder. Hop, je fais juste mes petits préparatifs de stream. Je vérifie que tout tourne bien, parfait, allons-y, allons-y. Nouvelle partie, en mode normal, parce qu'on est des gens normaux. Alors, les sous-titres, blablabla, on s'en fout. Hop, commençons sans plus tarder.
Why stay earthbound when prosperity awaits you in the stars? Come to Halcyon, the only colony on the edge of the frontier, owned and operated by corporations. A trip of 10 short years will feel like mere minutes, thanks to the comfort and safety of your very own hibernation chamber. You'll wake up in a perfect society designed to maximize your productivity with guaranteed full employment. With only a minor term of service, you will become the master of your own destiny when you go out of this world to the Halcyon colony.
Phineas Vernon. Il y a le blaze, quoi.
Hundreds of thousands of colonists left adrift out here forever, just to keep from damaging the board's bottom line. Disgraceful.
D'accord, alors, bah voyons voir. Force, dextérité, intelligence, perspicacité, charme et tempérament. Alors, arme à une main, arme de main, arme lourde, parade, inspiration, intimidation. Modifie les dégâts de corps à corps et capacité de transport. Arme à une main, arme de poing, esquive, parade, discrétion, crochetage. Jusque là, d'accord. Dégâts critiques. Ok, ça y a quoi? Apparemment, en erreur spontanée de votre santé. D'accord. Et on a 6 points à mettre. Bah moi je serais plus un... Je pense que je serais plus un gars aux armes de tir. Perspicacité, dextérité, c'est sûr. Bah, d'ailleurs, dextérité, je vais bien l'augmenter. Et le reste, bah, je vais mettre un point ici. Il me reste plus que 2 à mettre. Alors, persuasion, piratage, médecine, science, détermination. Réputation de faction et temps de recharge, d'accord. Ouais, c'est là que ça va jouer. Alors, charme ou force, qu'est-ce que je vais bien pouvoir foutre? Allez, on va mettre plutôt charme, on va dire. Plutôt que la force. Voilà. Alors, les compétences. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'on a ici? Alors, corps à corps. Alors, moi, j'avais dit que je
I hear
faisais
Monarch's in need
distance.
of more game hunters.
Attends. Les points investis dans une compétence de base corps à corps augmentent les compétences spécialisées jusqu'au rang 50. Au-delà de 50, vous pouvez investir directement des points de compétences spécialisés. Ok, d'accord. Défense, dialogue, furtivité, technologie ou leadership. Ok. Alors, réparation sur le terrain permet de réparer les armes et les armures. Permet d'améliorer vos armes et armures à l'établi. Technologie, ça me tente bien, fabriquer des trucs. Mais la discrétion, ça me tente aussi. Mais discrétion, c'est plus quand t'es au corps à corps, je pense. Ouais, bah écoute... Quantité de soins prodigués par l'inhalateur, durée des effets des objets, dégâts placement électrique, effet des armes scientifiques. Allez, va pour la
Things tend to
furtivité.
vanish
Allez.
off tables whenever you're around.
Les aptitudes. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'on a là-dedans? Ok, je vois. Arme à une main, science, dégâts au plasma, la médecine, l'inspiration. Ok. Et science, ça donne quoi déjà? Ah, c'est le truc sur le bricolage. Eh ben, on va mettre science.
I wonder what experiments you were subjected to. Nothing about what we're
Ouais.
doing is even remotely safe.
Alors, sexe. Bah, homme. Alors, quelle tête va m'inspirer là-dedans? Ouf. Oh putain. Ouais, il a l'air un peu niais quand même. Hein. Ouais, essayons. Attends, déjà barbiche. Elles sont où les barbiches? Oh, les raw flaquettes. On va pour ça. Alors, attends, couleur des yeux, je l'ai vu tout à l'heure. Il est là. Waouh. Alors attends. Ça. Mon Dieu, cette tête. Ouais, celle-ci, c'est celle qui me convient le mieux, je pense. Ouais, allez. Allons-y, allons-y. Alors, les yeux, écartement, taille. La mâchoire, la bouche, le nez, les joues. Tu peux plus creuser, ouais. Ah, par contre, il y a un sacré pif, hein. Ça n'a aucun sens. C'est vrai qu'il y a un putain de pif, hein, quand même, hein, c'est perturbant, hein. Bon, bah, c'est pas grave, mon gars, on te regardera seulement de face, hein. Ouais, ok. Alors, cheveux. Alors, t'as quoi comme coiffure, mon gars? Attends, déjà. C'est quoi ces couleurs de mort, là? Ouais, il va pour ça. Ah non, s'il vous plaît. Bon, la première, c'était déjà pas mal, hein. Allez, adjugé vendu. Couleur de la fidélité. Ouais, mono sourcil, trop de la balle. Ouais, son sourcil, c'est pas mieux quand même, hein. Ouais. Là, ceux-là, ils ont pas l'air trop dégueux. Allez, hop. Allure. Ah, du maquillage. Oh, que tu es belle, ma chérie. Ah, magnifique. Mon Dieu, je tiens. Ah, je comprends bien pourquoi c'était femme en premier, hein. Ah non, reste propre. Cicatrice, non. Et âge, ma jeune. Voilà. Adjugé vendu. Allez, hop. Comment on va t'appeler? Bah, sans surprise. Non, sans espace. Espèce de truc du cul. Et donc, wrench. Un homme avec beaucoup de dextérité.
Looks to be your lucky day, my friend.
Please power down your engines and prepare to be...
Not likely, bootlickers. Initiate skip jump.
Status. Structural integrity down 25%. Power levels down 10%. Skip drive.
Shit.
Inoperable.
Ah, there you are. Wondering what's going on, eh? Bit of bad news there, I'm afraid. Your colony ship was inexplicably knocked out of skip space and forced to complete its journey at sublight speeds. This means that you and every other colonist on the Hope have been in suspended animation for 70 years, give or take. Normally, reviving someone after so long leads to some quite horrifying results. It's called explosive cell death, but it's really more of a liquefaction. Something wrong? Oh, yes, well, not to worry. I've pumped your body full of a special concoction I devised to keep you from dying so horrifically. Hopefully at all, but I guess we'll see, yes? Unfortunately, I used the last of my chemical supplies saving you. I know it's a lot to ask, but I must have your help securing more if we're to save the rest of your fellow colonists. I'd see it done myself, of course, but the board has a sizable bounty on my head. Now, my ship is inoperative, but I've managed to hire a smuggler to help you out. He'll be... Oh, I see we're in position. Good luck!
Encore une fois, ça foutu le bouton ne fonctionne pas. Putain, il a la manie des boutons, lui.
Can you hear me? Is this thing working? Ah, there you are. Now, where were we? Oh, yes, the smuggler. His name is Hawthorne, and he should be waiting for you at the landing site. He's to be your chauffeur, so to speak. Not to worry. I'm told he's a specialist. Dashing gunslinger, one-of-a-kind ship, that sort of thing. You'll like him, I'm sure. I've also outfitted you with a simple wireless monitor, so I can track your progress. I'll check in with you as soon as you land. Good luck. All the colonists are counting on you.
Ah, enfin l'ultrawide.
You've landed. Good. Hawthorne should be close by. What in law's name? Is that him? Oh, that idiot. I told him to plant the beacon and move away, not stand there holding it. Oh well, no sense in letting his ship go to waste. Hawthorne won't mind you taking his ship. Better you than the board.
Wow.
Not sure I trusted the fellow. Might have gone after the bounty on my head. Shame about the whole squashing thing. Nasty way to go.
Bah, je sais pas pour vous, mais voilà, moi je vais rester là. Ah, on est bien ici. Bon, allez. Allons-y, allons-y. Oh, une petite merde. Ici, mon petit. Ici. Bah. Ouais, c'est ça, Barteux. Oh, il y en a plein. Oh shit. Je sais pas ce qui vous est arrivé, mon brave, mais j'ai dû être effroyable. C'était caché. Alors, les choses de perception situées au-dessus des ennemis vous indiquent insouciant suspicieux. Quelle idée créative. Fuck.
Easy now.
Holy crap.
You've been frozen for a while. There's bound to be unforeseen side effects.
Ouch. Ah, votre santé est basse pour gagner. Ok. Parce que là, ça reste assez classique.
Come here.
Oh, salut toi.
You've tried the best now. Now try the rest. Spacer's choice. Oh, law, that stings. We were out on patrol. I saw a marauder camp up in the hills. Thought I could take him. Then my gun misfired. Right through my side. I mean, what are the odds of that, right? Just barely scraped by with my life. Crawled in here and blocked off the exit with those canisters. Gibbering, flesh-eating, law-breaking, unemployed lunatics with guns. Some hullhead grounded their spacecraft out in the open. That's a real good way to attract marauders. See those canisters by the entrance? Marauders come sniffing around in here, and I can take them all out with a single shot. Not bad, huh?
Alors, persuasion, mensonge, intimidation. La persuasion.
Yeah, okay. You look like you know your way around a gun.
En même
Got some spare
temps,
ammo, not counting the bullet in my side.
il lui en fallait pas
All
beaucoup.
Spacer's
Hein.
choice weapons are now 30% less likely to malfunction. You've tried the best, now try the rest. Spacer's choice. Yes, nailed it that time. You hit your head or something? You're in Emerald Vale. We're a Spacer's choice community. Edgewater's a little ways down. Prettiest place in the Vale. Be sure to stop by a provisioner's for a can of our famous salt tuna. The Hope? Is that some sort of fancy new drug? Are you with Auntie Cleo or something? Don't take this the wrong way or nothing, but I'm not allowed to fraternize with Cleo workers. Company policy.
Ouais, bah reste là crevé. Ça me fait une belle jambe. Merde. Oh, putain, ça va être chiant ça par contre. Si j'arrive encore à me gourer au niveau des boutons, ça va pas le faire.
Damn it, my ears! Oh, what just happened? Can you hear me? What in the hell? This...
Dilatation temporelle tactique. Alors. D'accord. Appuyez sur la touche de dilatation temporelle tactique pour ralentir votre environnement et donner le temps de réfléchir et d'agir. Ce mode a une durée limitée. Si vous ne bougez pas, votre jauge de se vide très lentement. Elle se verra plus vite si vous déplacez ou attaquez. Ok. Et ma jauge, donc, c'est celle qui est en haut. Je comprends mieux. Allez, meurs là. Non, qu'est-ce que tu fous? Qu'est-ce que j'ai branlé? Ouais. Ça, on s'en branle quoi. Bâton télescopeur. Spacer Choice peut être modifié de bien des façons. Pour un coût supplémentaire. Désormais disponible en version 2. Bon, on fait attention, on touche plus au lit là. Ok. Gestion des armes. On peut équiper jusqu'à 4 armes à la fois. Ils font le même nombre de dégâts par seconde. Allez, on va mettre ça. Il y a des méchants. Eh, hop, ça meurt. Mais il est mort où là? Bah, il est où? T'es d'où, Billy? Billy? Non. 1, 2. Mais où est le troisième? Billy? Eh, il y a de l'arnaque dans le coin là. On m'a volé un Billy. Rendez-moi mon Billy. Bon, bah, il n'y aura pas de troisième Billy. Attends, à moins que c'est moi qui bigleux, c'est pas possible. Attends, je l'ai tué où, l'enculé, là? Ouais, non. Il est disparu, c'est tout. Voilà. On va pas se faire chier. Et à un moment donné, j'ai autre chose à foutre que de courir après des Billy, hein.
Hey! Get over here before you get yourself killed!
Vous êtes qui, vous? Soldat de Kimbarrow.
Don't know where you came from, stranger, but you best keep your head down. There's marauders hereabouts, and worse, landing violators. Call on that rung leech. Landing in the Vale without using an official Spacer's Choice landing pad. I'd slap him with a fine if it weren't for all these marauders shambling about.
J'ai déjà genre... ok.
You pulling my limb? I mean, yeah, of course. Marauders. Bunch of addle-brained derelicts. I could round them up all by myself. I just, you know, need a couple of winks to catch my breath. Stretch my legs, son.
Alors... Je parie que vous pourriez forcer ces maraudeurs à vous dire à qui appartient ce vaisseau. Je crois que je vous donnerai un 0 dans mon sondage de satisfaction client. Oh, c'est nul à brère. Je vais mettre celui-là.
Well, sometimes. Management's real good at cost-benefit analysis. But, seeing as I'm the acting manager in this situation, you know what? You're right. It's time we cross those marauders off, find whoever owns that ship, and file a full report. And it's gonna be fucking laminated.
Here we go.
Allez, en avant les gogoles.
Waste of company ammo.
C'est déjà fini? Bah, je suis déçu. Je suis déception.
Please be informed that this vessel contains no valuable plunder.
Ah ouais? C'est ce qu'on va vérifier. Bah, il y a un fusil d'assaut.
Please be informed that ignoring me is dangerous for your health.
Faisons un petit tour du patelin.
All doors are on security lockdown. Nice try, Marauder. Marauder, please be informed the ship has no crew for you to murder.
Tiens, tiens, tiens. La reine en E6. Pah. Ouais. La brune aux algues.
Please be advised that using the respecification machine will not make you a better person.
Tiens, tiens, qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Reconvertir votre personnage permet de restituer des points. Jamais de la vie. Tu laisses mes points là où ils sont.
Marauder, please be informed that the engine room contains nothing of value.
Alors là, il faut un régulateur.
Marauder, please be informed this ship does not possess a working power regulator for you to steal.
Oh! Alors, l'une de vos armes et armures est cassée, son efficacité est minimale. Vous devrez chercher un établi pour le réparer. Une crosse de tossball.
Intruders are not authorized to access the Unreliable's amenities.
Oh là là, c'est quoi de ces armes qui me donnent là d'un seul coup là? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? C'est Noël?
The cargo hold's workbench.
Pas mal du tout. Établi. Ah, on peut installer des modifs. Ouais, mais il faut les avoir les modifs. C'est pas juste je convertis du pognon en modif. Bon là il y a un pieu. Bon, allons voir.
Unauthorized access of spacefaring vessels is a crime. Please submit yourself to the authorities.
Ouais,
Hello,
salut.
Marauder. I am Ada, the autonomous digital astrogator of this vessel. Please be informed that I am authorized to use violent retribution against unwanted solicitors. Please return any misappropriated equipment and exit this vessel in an orderly fashion. Failure to do so will result in your immediate destruction.
Alors, qu'est-ce que tu vas faire? T'autodétruire? Je ne suis pas pour accroire que ce soit illégalement. J'aime pas trop qu'on me parle comme ça.
Gesture procedures initiated. Please engage in airlocks. Prepare to reject all boarding parties in 5, 4,
Ah le bordel.
2, 1. You are still here. My deception protocols have failed. I have been programmed to express disappointment. This vessel is the registered property of Captain Alex Hawthorne. I am incapable of accepting orders from anyone other than Captain Alex Hawthorne.
Ah le tact. Ton capitaine n'est qu'une grosse tache de sang sous mon module de sauvetage. Ah, j'ai bien envie de répondre ça, hein, franchement.
I understand. I will require some time to process this information. Thank you for your patience and for your honesty. I am programmed to take orders exclusively from Captain Hawthorne. If I accept your orders, then you must be Captain Hawthorne. Do you understand? I understand. You are speaking metaphorically. You wandered outside this ship and experienced a permanent, life-changing encounter. The old you is dead. Welcome back, Captain Hawthorne. I extend felicitations and congratulations on your life-changing experience. I understand. You are going undercover with an alias. I will update my discretion protocol accordingly. Unfortunately, our engine is currently inoperable. Our main drive suffered a critical power failure, and we were forced to make an emergency landing. The main drive's power regulator has been irreparably damaged and must be replaced. Astutely observed. However, the probability of locating a power regulator within a worker settlement falls within acceptable parameters of certainty. High-capacity power regulators are sometimes employed in the electrical networks of worker settlements. I have taken the liberty of printing you a new Captain's Identity cartridge. Please try not to lose it this time. This cartridge identifies you, Alex Hawthorne, as the registered proprietor and captain of the Unreliable. Do you understand?
Lâche-moi un peu avec tes histoires. Tu me casses le cul.
It is difficult for me to do so. I am programmed to accept commands from Captain Alex Hawthorne, after all. Best of luck in your search for a power regulator. Try to stay alive this time.
Ouais, bon, on a compris. Oh, je vais devoir te reprogrammer. Alors, niveau supérieur. Ok, alors j'ai 10 points de compétence. Et ben... Arme à distance. On va déjà s'amuser à faire du dégât. Vous avez déverrouillé des... Toucher un ennemi à des endroits spécifiques en été provoque une infirmité, une incapacité de... partie du corps en question. Porter des coups à plusieurs endroits pour voir les différents effets. Les coups portés à la poitrine produisent différents effets selon l'arme utilisée. Ah ah! C'est intéressant tout ça. Alors, sélection des avantages. Oh, tiens, c'est quoi ça? Alors, santé de base. Jauge max de dilatation. Dégâts en solitaire. Vitesse de marche. Vitesse de sprint. La durabilité. Les compagnons. Le prix sur les marchands. Le voyage rapide. Les stocks de munitions. Dégâts en solitaire. Ça me semble bien. Ouais. C'est déjà pas mal. Bon, allons-y, allons-y.
Say, this wouldn't happen to be your ship, would it? Because you sure walked in it like it was your ship. And if this ship is yours, well, mister, you owe Spacer's Choice a hefty fine. Afraid we gotta dock your pay.
Je n'ai pas de travail. Alors, est-ce que vous prenez les paiements en violence gratuite? Non, allez, on va essayer de les berner. Vous trompez sur toute la ligne, je suis inspecteur de sécurité de vaisseau.
Oh, by the law. I'm so sorry. I had no idea we had an inspector coming. If you'd like to speak with my manager, I report to Constable Reyes in Edgewater. Edgewater's not too far. Just follow the road east of here, over past the cemetery. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to inspect the crime scene before I make my report.
C'est ça, la revoyure. Et attention, hein, t'abîmes pas la pâture. Hein. J'ai pas fini de le payer. C'est bien calme ici. Enfin, c'est silence de mort. Attends, c'est moi ou le fusil à pompe utilise les mêmes munitions que... Alors attends, légère. Fusil à canon scié. Ah ouais, c'est des légères. Ah, il fait... Ah d'accord, je comprends. Attention, un méchant. Alors, plus votre compétence de discrétion est élevée, plus les dégâts bonus le seront eux aussi. Te retourne pas trop du cul. Ouf. Oh shit. Ah j'aurais dû... En fait j'aurais dû augmenter corps à corps, c'est tellement jouissif. Oh c'est comme c'est mignon. Et au fait, j'ai que des armes ou... Alors attendez. Attendez, qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Ah bah oui que j'ai des armures. Ouais, bah on va équiper ça. Ouh qu'il est beau. Ok. Alors trouver un régulateur thermique. Au fait, je crois que j'ai un souci de... Ah, attends, si. Ouais, puisque ça, c'est mon clavier, c'est tellement de la merde. Voilà. Ah, c'est mieux. C'est mieux que la roulette. Enfin, c'est pas que j'aime pas la roulette, mais... mais j'ai pas plus d'arguments. Alors. Sympa ici.
Hey, where'd you come from?
Et hop, je vole ta pelle. T'es qui toi?
Running around in a marauder's attire. You're liable to give some people the wrong idea. It's in poor taste. Dressing up like a marauder's disrespectful to all the workers that got eaten by him. Ain't safe out here. You'd best head into town. Avail yourself of Edgewater's high walls and low prices.
D'accord. Alors laissez-moi me présenter au fait, je m'appelle Wrench. On vous paye pour tailler le bout de gras.
Pleased to make your acquaintanceship. I'd shake your hand, but I've been hauling corpses. You don't want none of that on you. Name's Silas. Junior in humor for the town of Edgewater. We're all part of the Spacer's Choice family.
Il m'a l'air fort sympa, Silas.
Definitely not the junior in humor, that's for sure. If you've got business inquiries, you should stop by Reed Thompson's office. He's up in the tower above the cannery. Head into town, follow the road. Look, you obviously ain't a worker. What's your racket? You a smuggler? Freelancer?
Je fais ce que je veux.
Edgewater is a company town, board-owned and operated. That includes the cemetery. None of us own our grave sites, we rent them from the company. Renting means money. Money means paperwork. Paperwork means signatures. Some of our families become a mite delinquent in paying their dues, you see?
Alors, vous faites payer les gens pour leur propre tombe.
Company policy. If it was up to me, I'd put the whole town 10 feet under, free of charge. Quotas, mostly. Got a backlog of graves to fill. Bodies won't bury themselves, you know?
Ah, ce sourire en coin, là.
Yeah? You could look at it that way, I suppose. You could look at us and say, those Edgewater saps lost near every soul to plague. But you'd be wrong. We're survivors. Loyal company folk, braving the wilds. Every now and again, a virulent plague sweeps through our town. That's life on the frontier, I suppose. A body grows accustomed. Hang on, I'm doing some math in my head. 20, 30, carry the 1... all my life? Work's been real good to me. Fresh air, exercise. Only problem's the paperwork. Can't get anybody to pay their gravesite fees. Former people, yeah. Marauders been raiding my graves, you see. Hence the armed guards. Oh no. They are after the most precious loot of all. Spacer's Choice Company property. If those marauders swipe any more bodies out of my cemetery, company's gonna duck my pay.
Allez.
4 workers still haven't paid up. Phyllis, Conrad, Ludwig, and Martin Abernathy. He's a special case. You may want to twist his arm a little. He just is. Look, I don't want to get into it. Just make sure he pays up.
D'accord, d'accord. Et pour commencer, ça me semble bien quand même. Hein. Ça m'a l'air pas mal du tout. Alors par contre... Je vais remettre ma combinaison. Parce que sinon je vais encore me faire... On va encore me balancer des canettes sur la tête là. Edgewater. Ça me parle l'ambiance.
Almost lost a finger in the cannery today.
The Spacer Choice. Kezako. Ok. On va peut-être pas voler les trucs. La conserverie de Sauton. Planifiez votre congé maladie avec votre chef d'équipe, blablabla, faites brave dégâts aux autres membres. Les heures perdues doivent être remboursées à l'entreprise. Ah, c'est vraiment le capitalisme, hein, à son paroxysme. Le pognon, les flouses, les simflouses. Intéressant cette petite musique.
I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson, sir. You asked why it's taking so long to fix. The answer's technical.
Don't apologize. Just try using small words for me.
The cans bust open in the oven because she's set to cook saltuna, which isn't what we've got. Mr. Thompson? I think there's someone here to see you.
Focus, Miss Holcomb. You and I are still talking. Let's start over. Walk me through the process. Show me where it's going awry.
Well, sure. It's, mostly on account of what we're feeding into the mechanism.
It puts food in cans. We have food, we have cans. Why won't it work like we need?
She's expecting saltuna of a certain size. We're filling the cans with... well, not fish.
Intéressant
Seems
notre
we've got a
petite...
guest. Really now, Parvati, I do wish you'd spoken up. I do apologize. I was given no forewarning of your arrival, or I might have welcomed you at the gates myself.
Vous êtes Reed.
I'm Reed Thompson, Outpost Administrator. I cannot help but notice you are not in uniform. Of course not. I don't have that kind of luck. Seems I allowed my excitement to run away with my wits. Been a few seasons since we've had a visitor pass through.
Only regulator we got is hooked up to the town transformer. Mr. Thompson ain't liable to be keen on dismantling it.
I beg your pardon. I am most emphatically not keen on any such thing. I can't let you have our power regulator. But I happen to know of another one. And I happen to know exactly how you may retrieve it without frying yourself in the process.
Mm-hmm.
There's a power regulator in the old botanical lab. It's mostly abandoned, so all that power is being squandered. Go down to the geothermal plant. Reroute power from the botanical district over to us. Once their power's shut down, you can have their regulator and be along on your way.
Vous pensez rediriger vers la ville. Quand le courant sera coupé. Alors,
I was not entirely sure how to tell you this. The botanical labs are not legally inhabited, but there are people who live there.
les maraudeurs ne sont pas des personnes. Ce ne sont rien du tout.
No, I do not imagine they will be pleased. But like a parent disciplining an unruly child, you will be doing them a kindness. The people living in the botanical labs, they're deserters, former workers. I need them back at their posts. I need them to come home. Edgewater is struggling. We haven't hit our production quota in years. If we don't meet our quotas this year, the company might shut us down for good. I need those workers back at their stations. It's our problem, not yours, but I'm asking for your help. If those workers don't come back, Edgewater is going to collapse. My hope is that by cutting off their power, you will convince those deserters to come back to town. Before you go to the plant, I want you to stop by the
Ça a l'air d'être mission en toute discrétion.
Adelaide, tell her the power's about to go, and that it's time her band of deserters came back to town. Adelaide's older than the other deserters. She's dignified, kindly. From what I understand, her camp looks to her for leadership. That is not a hypothetical I enjoy entertaining. We need Adelaide back. Nonetheless, I will settle for the return of her followers. We belong to one community, the Spacer's Choice family. If we dissolve into factions, then we will all perish separately. Adelaide will understand that.
My dad told me all about the plant. Taught me all he knew. I could come in useful. I mean, if that's all right with you, Mr. Thompson. Sir.
I hesitate to part ways with Miss Holcomb, but I cannot deny that she is talented and may prove useful.
Oh non, pas un compagnon.
You will need an administrative passcode in order
Laissez-moi
to
y
enter
aller
the
tout
plant.
seul.
I am trusting you with mine, and trusting Miss Holcomb to guide you if you'd like.
Ah, mais... j'ai pas envie de compagnie, mais je pense que le jeu me force un petit peu à en avoir. Enfin, non, c'est pas qu'il me force, mais... Et puis bon, il faudrait quand même que je vois comment se débrouille Ouais, enfin bref. Alors, vous aurez besoin d'un mot de passe administratif pour pénétrer dans la centrale. Je confie le mien aussi. Ouais, allez, vas-y. Allez. Juste pour voir.
Great! I got my wrenches and diagnosticators and hairpins and engine tape, so I'm all set.
Well, I am glad to hear that. Best of luck to you. And thank you again for your help. It is a lot to ask of a stranger, I know.
Allez, on y va. Alors, les compagnons. Vous avez obtenu un compagnon. Ce personnage vous accompagne dans les... Les compagnons vous aident pendant les combats. Leurs compétences augmentent les vôtres. Et ils augmentent votre capacité de transport. D'accord. Bah, je pense que ça va quand même le détour. Eh viens, Ginette. Sinon, toi, ça va? J'espère que cet ascenseur va jamais s'arrêter. Ah, bonjour. Salut. Ah, enfin seul. Encore une fois. Bon allez. Trêve de plaisanterie.
Hey, mister, can we talk?
Oh.
Can we talk?
Oui, oui.
Sorry. You just want to get out of here. And you likely don't want to tag along like me. It's just, Mr. Thompson has his own view on matters, on account of it's his job and what all, but that's not the only side of the tale.
Sans blague. Ouais, elle est pas mal cette réplique.
Oh, he ain't a liar. He believes every word he says. It's just, he doesn't always get where other folk are talking from. To Mr. Thompson, a person's a gear. It does its job quiet-like. If it squeaks or stutters, it gets replaced. The deserters are decent folk. I knew some of them before they left. I don't know anybody well. I mostly listen to them talk, kept my head down. There was a boy named Thomas who used to follow me around, asking questions about the stuff I fixed. He was real sweet to me. Not any sort of dissident. Miss McDevitt? Oh, gosh, no. She was a real important person. A flavorist. Made all the food taste decent. She used to work up in the big office with Mr. Thompson. All I know is she left after her son died. It was a real big to-do. I could hear them both yelling clear from my own place. Can't say as I know. I wasn't there. The sound carried, but not the words. If Mr. Thompson ain't of a mind to tell you his own self, you'd best ask Miss McDevitt, if you can get out to her. Mr. Thompson's aiming to take away their power. They'll have no lights to see, nor heat to cook. They'll be at the mercy of marauders, or worse. It don't seem right to me, mister. I think you should talk to the town's vicar about it. Max, his name is. The mission's on the east side of town. You can't miss it, on account of it being the only clean thing. About if what Mr. Thompson proposes to do is upright. Leaving Miss McDevitt's folk to their fate. Their neighbors. Kin. And maybe he can think of something else to try. Something we ain't. He used to go walking outside town. Maybe he found something that'll help. It's just an idea. That's all.
Bon, bah
Thanks,
allons,
mister.
allons le
I
voir.
just think when you gotta make a decision that'll hurt somebody, it's best to think on the right and wrong of it. That's what my dad used to say anyways.
Ouais. Eh viens, bichette. Eh, t'es bien gentil. Casse-toi, toi. Voilà. Alors, monsieur le vicaire. Attends, c'est bien ça. Vicaire Max.
I'm sorry. I'll just be a minute.
You had a minute. Next one comes out of your pay.
Ease off the threats, friend. I'm going.
Attends.
I've always felt weird in here. It's too clean.
Yes, what is it? You're an outsider. Fantastic. Vicar Maximilian de Soto at your service. Or Vicar Max if you're the sort who prefers brevity. And Ms.
C'est
Holcomb
quand
as
même
well.
fou
How rare to see you out.
que le mec
And with a
s'appelle
complete
Max
stranger. Curious.
Just
et plus
tagging
précisément
along,
Max
Vicar
de Soto.
Don't mind me.
I so rarely get new people to talk to. Name your poison, anything at all.
Est-ce que c'est une grosse référence à Sam et Max? On se le demande.
The quickest way out of town.
Ah, il suffira du signe spirituel des résultats de Toast Bowl.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but your choice of wardrobe is not precisely common hereabouts.
Sans deck.
Also, you lack the distinctive worker gaze. Usually either a deadening behind the eyes, or in some rare cases, a wild-eyed frenzy, like a trapped animal. Pretty universal here, except for Ms. Holcomb, who for some reason doesn't seem to have much to say to me. Isn't that right?
It's just... there's more to it all than numbers. Sorry.
I'm simply bemoaning the level of spiritual awareness in this town. Yes, but there are few who hear me in this miserable place. I must double my efforts to elevate my flock. These are good, hard-working people here. Yes, and thank you for pointing it out. It is wrong of me to succumb to distress. This place could be so much more, and I will continue in my quest to make it so.
Ouais, que je tire plein de plus. Trop du cul. Ça, c'est quoi ça? Ah! L'historique des dialogues. Intéressant. Alors...
But what? I thought you would talk to him.
You wanted to speak to me, Ms. Holcomb? Every time I've tried to engage you in conversation, you look at the floor, answer in single words, and slink away. I can't imagine what would be so grave as to drive her to my mission. What has Mr. Thompson asked you to do?
De couper le courant au déserteur, répondez vite!
Depriving them of safety from the marauders and wildlife. I can see why that troubles you. Miss Holcomb has a soft heart. Always has, if you believe the talk. They rejected the order of society and live beyond the walls so thoughtfully provided by our Spacer's Choice patrons. Does that strike you as a responsible life choice? Assuming your goal is to save as many as possible, then you should bring everyone together. Send the power to Edgewater and convince the deserters to return to the fold.
Not if things are left to stand as they are. If you don't mind a bit of unsolicited advice, be cautious on your way to the geothermal plant. It is not as safe as you might assume. One of the reasons I transferred here was to fulfill my duty in hunting down banned heretical texts. I happen to know such a book is, as we speak, tainting a collector's library in Emerald Vale. However, the collector's residence lies outside the town's walls. My retrieval efforts have been thwarted by marauders who have overrun the property. Should you fare better than me, I'd pay a handsome sum for the book. I just want to keep the writing out of layman's hands. It wouldn't do for such information to fall into public consumption.
J'ai l'impression que les autorités aimeraient apprendre votre intérêt pour ce texte mis à l'index.
It's a handwritten journal. A faded blue cover with the name M. Bakonu handwritten in the lower corner. I'll mark where I saw it on your map. Assuming you're serious? It is not only a beautiful relic of a bygone time, it's also the thoughts of an early thinker on the nature of man's place in the cosmos. Not many in this colony could understand its true value, should they ever read it. Thank you. If you retrieve it, you can always find me here.
Tout à fait, mais est-ce que ça nous a avancé pour notre histoire de con là? Apporter le message à Reed. Ouais, bah ouais, en fait. Ouais, allez. Allez, ma petite bichette. Il est convaincu qu'on doit y aller, et bah allons-y. Et on les flingue jusqu'au dernier. Waouh! C'est joli ici, dis donc. Mais on est carrément pas au bon endroit. En fait, c'est quoi ça? Ah, c'est...
I'm going. Be right there.
D'accord. Kezako.
Don't mess with us.
Sale bête. L'adjoint est mort. À cause d'un canidé sauvage. Il y a encore des sales bêtes. Oh, qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Des piou-piou. Aïe.
Incoming.
Saloperie de piou-piou. Non mais oh. On vit dans un monde de fous ici. Allez, grouille-toi ma petite bichette. On a du pain sur la planche. Oh. Alors toi... Bah alors tu meurs. Il est où? Non, sérieusement. Ah bah bravo Nils. Attends, je suis où là? Oh non, faut que je me retape tout le chemin. Bon, bah c'est un jeu où il va falloir faire des sauvegardes rapides. D'ailleurs, est-ce que si je fais ça... Oui, ça sauvegarde. Nickel. Bon, on a un toutou à buter. Il est où? Il est où le toutou? Chut, il nous a pas vu. Sale bête. Et ramasse ta merde là. Bien joué Gertrude. Tu as montré que tu n'étais pas si inutile que ça. Bon là on fait plus les fifoudingos. Putain, ils étaient où? Ils sont là-bas je crois. Bah il est où l'autre? Ah il est déjà mort? Oh le con. Il est mort où? Eh Ginette t'es efficace hein. Ah bah ça me semble pas mal. Attends, je vais peut-être remettre ma vieille armure de mort là. Chut. Reste caché. Oh shit! Ils sont tous morts? Alors, sans surprise. On nous demande ça.
Easy.
Ok.
Wish I could do that.
Ouh! Et il est de toute beauté. Fais voir, fais voir. Attends, déjà, il y a des trucs à... Comment ça va trop ensemble? Y a pas moyen de cacher les casques déjà dans le jeu? Jouabilité. Mouvement de tête. Ah voilà, c'est ça. Donc ça fait que... Ça fait qu'on le voit toujours. Bon, enfin bref. C'est... Oh! Hop là! Merde! Je tire sur elle. Gros débile. Ouf. Attends, c'est des explosifs ça? Putain, j'aurais dû faire ça. J'aurais dû le faire depuis le début. Non. Ok. On est bientôt arrivé dans cet enfer là.
Dang, that's impressive.
Ouf. On est passé des choses ici. Et un drone de combat. Oh, salut toi. Alors, voilà, efficacité offensive, c'est ça que je voulais. Ouais, bon, on n'en dira pas plus. Voilà, c'est fermé. Là. Ah ah! Une clé de contournement. Yep. Allez, j'ai retrouvé, on est presque arrivé. C'est quoi ça? Et découpeur plasma. Attends, c'est... Fais voir un peu. Ok. Et pourquoi il est moins bon que... Attends. Bon, mets-moi mon couteau pour voir. Ouais, non, efficacité offensive, il est bien meilleur. Je me disais bien.
Move along, stranger. We don't want any trouble.
Qui ça? Où ça? Qui me parle? Ah. Je vous avais même point vu, madame. Je n'avais même point fait gaffe que vous étiez là.
I don't know you. Whatever you're looking for, it ain't here. Move along. Answers, huh? You must be one of those philosophicals. Already got ourselves one of those. A geo what? Look, plants ain't my purview. You're better off asking after Adelaide. If you're gonna start wandering around my camp, know that I got my sights on you. over in the hothouse, tending crop. Enough with the questions. No offense, but I've got a lot on my mind. You don't know what enough with the questions means? No, I'm sorry. That was unworthy of me. Lady named Zoe went missing some nights ago. Just up and vanished without a trace. Now I'm pacing around wondering if marauders got to her. I've crossed off my share of marauders. This ain't about them. I go looking for Zoe, I leave the camp undefended, seeing as I'm the only one of us who knows her way around a gun. Hence my dilemma. Vex me. If she told anybody, they ain't telling me. I'd check her room, but I got yelled at for snooping once already. Little ways ago, she was always obsessing over her serial dramas. Wanted to see what the fuss was about. Well, enough to know we never got on. Zoe and Stefan were close. If anybody knows the workings of her mind, he does. She was lazy and thoughtless, but she's still one of our own. It's not like Zoe to go wandering. Figured she might be out scavenging, but that ain't exactly her talent. Can't imagine where she's gone. Vale's a wide place. She could be anywhere. Appreciate it. Honest.
Bon allez. Je ne fais que passer, Grace. Et après je reviendrai pour te buter. Te buter! Espèce de folle. Wow. Ça a l'air sympa ici, dis donc.
Oh gosh, it's so pretty.
Ouais. Si tu le dis, ouais.
If you're hungry, there's meat turning on the spit outside. If you're bearing illness, find a place to lay your head down and I'll fetch you a poultice. Whatever your troubles with Edgewater, leave them at the gates and be welcomed here. Any questions, dear? I have been called that, among other things. Green Thumb, grandmother, the strange old lady who keeps flowers. But yes, Adelaide will do just fine.
Excuse me, Miss McDevitt? Sorry, it's just... You got such pretty trees in here.
Why, thank you. You're Robert's girl, aren't you? I remember when you were but a sprout. Thomas speaks of you often. Are you staying long? You should try some of my tobaccorn tea. I brew it in an old spittoon, but it's been cleaned. No, dear. The garden belongs to us all. Life is the gift of the universe, and the universe yields its bounty equally, absent of prejudice. The soil around the Vale went sour years ago, but I found a way to sweeten it back up. The secret recipe is a little bit of elbow grease, a dash of love, and a heaping pile of special fertilizer. A home for anyone who's ever turned their backs on Edgewater. A home for those of us with nowhere left to go and nothing to lose. So, like the spores of the puffball, cast on the wind and alighting on fresh soil. We put down new roots. It is an unpleasant story, dear. But the short of it is that sometimes one wakes up and realizes the place that was once her home for much of her life has changed. The home in which we spent our lives has left us behind, and so we must move on. And that is as much as I will say on the subject. Reed Thompson? You here on behalf of that cold-eyed reptile? Let's hear it. What's Reed's idea of peace, then? I can't say I blame you. Reed is positively soporific. Like everything else that comes out of Edgewater, that peace offering is canned. I and my own are living just fine out here by ourselves. He would do such a thing. The question is, why would you agree to his plans? Cannery's got a regulator. You want ship parts, you ought to rip them out of the cannery's guts and leave us be. If you're going down to the plant, you should divert power away from Edgewater and toward our end of the grid. Think about it. You'd be liberating an entire town from a lifetime of service to that odious cannery. Seems the sort of thing a hero would do. You've seen that miserable excuse for a town with your own lamps. Hollowed out workers laboring their lives away at the cannery, living off whatever scraps Spacer's Choice throws them. You know that's true, don't you, Ms. Holcomb? Your father died of overwork. His heart gave out.
He was tired all the time, sure, but he was old, ma'am, and he raised me all by his lonesome.
Look what they did to this child. Lost her family to the company, and still she defends them.
I'm all right. I ain't so fragile.
That was unkind of me. I'm sorry, dear. It's not much of a living. Every single person in that town has sold themselves to Spacer's Choice. The company owns them. Body, blood, and bones. You've been there. You've seen it. All anyone ever does is toil over a cannery. They give their lives for some heartless corporation, and then they're tossed into a Spacer's Choice brand cemetery. Life in Edgewater grinds to a halt. The cannery shuts down, workers desert in droves, and our own little camp grows and thrives. You bring power to Reed's town and you'll be killing us. Reed knows it. He's counting on it. I trust you will listen to your conscience.
Ouais, je vais écouter ma conscience. Et tous vous buter. Ah putain, le mec a encore des touquettes, quoi. Bon. Qu'est-ce que tu en penses, toi?
That's on account of how I never met her. She was in another division of the Spacer's Choice family. She worked in the Vale a few months, sorting the cannery computers. Her contract said any kids she had, expected or not, belonged to her office from the time of conception. So when I was born, I got sent here. Well, I don't know about normal. Dad said she worked under some kind of special contract. It's sensible. Dad just fixed machines. She did some kind of crazy math, high-level stuff. Better to raise me on his time than hers. You mean about the mission being too clean? I know, but Vicker says the universe is a machine, that it runs by law. Real machines have gunked up oil, scratches, and worn bits. You can tell they've seen handling, been used by folk. The machine Vicker sees is one ain't never been run. It's not for people to live in. It's something on a museum shelf, under glass. Fixing the universe is a job for somebody way better than the likes of me.
Ouais, fort bien. Bon, alors. Qu'est-ce qu'on fait? Qui est-ce qu'on bute? Edgewater ou les autres? Le choix est difficile. En fait, non, pas du tout, mais... Alors, dévier le courant de la centrale géodermique. Dévier le courant. Ouais, donc il faut que j'aille quand même à la centrale. Oh, un poulet! On peut parler au poulet? On peut le buter, le poulet? Ouais. D'ailleurs, est-ce qu'on a une carte? Oui, on a une carte. Alors, pour y aller, faut que je revienne sur mes pas. Alors, ouais. C'est pas un endroit où dormir, monsieur. Ah. Ok, ça c'est quoi ça? C'est une bestiole? Oh putain, c'est une bestiole. Mon Dieu, le malheur ici. Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Ow. Meurs, sale bête. Viens là. Putain, il y en avait des choses sur lui. Putain, il est encore en train de se gunfight, elle. Non. Ah, ça va, là. Il n'y a pas de permades pour les compagnons. Encombrement. Lorsque le nombre d'objets portés est trop important.
headed?
Ok. Je peux pas m'en servir comme ça. Ça fait chier, j'ai trop de trucs sur moi en fait. Alors, poids, valeur. En fait, j'ai combien en encombrement? Alors... En fait, j'ai envie de rien jeter, en fait, mais ça me fait chier. Ah bah attends, je peux... Il est où le rebut? C'est ça le rebut? Je vais les démanteler. Pourquoi se faire chier? Ok.
I've always wanted to poke around in here.
Ça pue le guet-apens ici. Allez, meurs là. Un scientifique. Tout doux. Hop. Allez, ça crève là. Bon, tout le monde est mort. Bon, alors. Ok. Au moins, ça c'est fait. Oh. C'est bon, tout le monde est mort. Ok, bon. Ah ouais. Un chapeau. Ok, clôture. Nickel. Ah, mon arme elle est usée. Ouais, elle est usée. Ah putain. Je sais pas qui pense à mon cul, mais il devrait arrêter.
The control room should be off to the right. I hope we're doing the right thing.
Est-ce que j'ai encore des trucs à vendre là-dedans? C'est un peu le traquenard, ce micmac là. Ouais, what? Ouf. Ah, il marave quoi. Le mec il m'a marave le cul quoi. Ok. Non. La suite c'est par là, mais j'ai pas envie de voir par là d'abord. Ah! Faut un code. Fait chier. Bah attends, je l'ai pas le code d'accès? Vous m'avez pas donné l'autre enculé là? Je crois que si d'ailleurs. Code d'accès géodermique. Ouais mais attends, est-ce que c'est un truc que je dois vraiment taper moi-même ou... Ah non, c'est pas un truc que je dois taper moi-même. C'est un peu con hein. Je vous entends les gueux. Fuck. Et ça meurt. Il n'y a pas d'autre? Bah cool, il était tout seul. Oh l'andouille. Il en est mort le con. Ah, là par contre, a priori ils sont pas tout seuls. Hop hop hop.
Unexpected.
Oh shit. Je sais pas si ce que... Je sais pas si j'ai fait quelque chose de bien là. Ouais. Dans le doute, je vais sauvegarder. Je suis vraiment un connard, j'appuie sur des leviers, je sais même pas à quoi ça sert. Facultatif, code d'accès de Chester. Ok, il y a deux... Non, il y a un terminal. Avec rien d'intéressant dedans.
Not real. You're not real.
Attention, il y a un maboule dans le coin. Ok, il y a une échelle, il y a une porte. Faire la porte en premier. Non, 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 non.
Mind the theme. You're liable to get scalded.
Ah, merci de préciser.
Great work.
Oh ouais. Oh ouais, ouais, ouais. Oh ouais. Alors, réparer. Ouais, non. On ne voyait pas abîmer non plus as fuck, quoi.
Processing. Arme de poing, arme longue. Ouais, on va faire ça comme ça. Oui, oui, oui. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'on va mettre en deuxième? Efficacité de l'armure. Le transport. Bon, j'en étais où? Nice.
Processing data. Beginning security.
Here they come!
Oh shit. Il est où le méchant? Et bah c'est fin divertissant tout ça. Attends. Ça sent le guet-apens.
Hey, mister? Look, I know you want your power regulator and all, but I just gotta ask you. Do you understand what you're about to do? I don't think you should cut off Edgewater's power. I think it would be cruel. I'm sorry. That just sort of came out all at once. Edgewater's hurting. We've been losing workers year after year, and corporate hardly ever sends replacements. There's barely enough Saltuna to fill our bellies anymore. But the town's got some good people in it. Decent, hard-working folk just living their lives the only way they know how. They don't deserve to be punished. Miss McDevitt's built something beautiful. Somehow she's talked the ground into giving life again. It's plain to see she's made the Vale a better place. Fed the hungry, tended the sick. Gave a home to those that had none. But Miss McDevitt delights in Edgewater's suffering. She wants to hurt the town. Do you really want to be party to that kind of hatred? Well, that sure sounds like Mr. Thompson. If he was standing here, I imagine he'd remind us of how we're all one big, happy Spacer's Choice family. In Mr. Thompson's eyes, those deserters are still part of the Spacer's Choice family. The family must work together in order to survive. I hate to say it, but I think Mr. Thompson's got a point. Unless those deserters come back, Edgewater's as good as dead. Cutting off their power might be the only way. Sorry, I didn't mean to babble on like that. I felt like I had to say something. Really? I mean, wow. Thanks. No one's ever told me those words in that order.
Putain, là qu'on me donne un dilemme entre les mains alors. Alors déjà on sauvegarde, déjà, hein. Et d'ailleurs on va faire une belle sauvegarde tant qu'à faire. Voilà. Alors, capitalisme ou pas? Les corpos ou les non-corpos? Ah, tu me fous dans la merde, Parvati, là. Et c'est pas ton gros cul qui va me sauver. Hein? Hein? Franchement, t'as de la chance, hein. T'as foutu de la chance, hein. Putain. Tu fais chier. Qu'est-ce que je vais faire? Qui vais-je laisser crever? Bon, tu m'excuseras. Bon, j'ai sauvegardé, donc c'est juste pour le test. Non, sérieusement? Elle prend pas de dégâts? Oh, alors toi, t'as vraiment du cul, hein. Et je parle pas de ça. Espèce de petite conne. Bon, allez. Ne perdons plus de temps. Alors, la réduction est préservation irréversible. Voulez-vous continuer? Oui. Allez, va pour Edgewater. Pfff. D'ailleurs, on peut les voir là. Ah oui, on peut voir la réputation. Les déserteurs. Neutralité. Négatif à 18%. Ouais, bah... Ça n'empêche que tu fais chier, Ginette. Bah les couilles. Allez, barrons-nous de ces maudits endroits. Attends, je me suis barré, mais je suis... Est-ce que j'ai besoin de récupérer le truc? Attends. Comment que les... ok, mais c'est pas ça que je veux. Ouais. Je sens que je vais me faire shooter comme un lapin. Regarde-moi ça, comment ils font tous la gueule là.
Oh, that's Thomas. He used to follow me around before he left the cannery.
Ça va comme vous voulez?
Adelaide's okay.
Vous!
That's the thing about growing old. Your eyes start to fail. Elsewise, I would have seen you for the snake that you are, chopped you into pieces and roasted you on a spit. This is all you're doing. Cutting off my power, killing off my garden. Without refrigeration, my food will spoil, and my flock will starve. I want to ask you this in private, away from the eyes of my flock, so they do not see me lose my temper. Tell me, why did you do it?
Bah j'ai écouté l'autre conne.
killed my garden, destroyed my community, sentenced my flock to a lifetime of slavery in Edgewater for a power regulator. Well, shit, I wish it was personal. Go talk to Grace and Thomas. Look them in the eye and tell them their life here is over, and the only thing left to do is go back to Edgewater. This is now your responsibility. And you tell Reed Thompson that I will never return to Edgewater. I would rather die among my flowers than live under his management. My son worked in that cannery. When the plague started coming, he was one of the first to fall sick. We had a store of medicine locked away, but Reed refused to treat him. Said my boy didn't deserve treatment. Said the medicine would have been wasted on him. So I buried my boy in the cemetery, gathered my belongings, and left. That's as much of the story as you need to hear. You offering to cross Reed off, huh? This some sort of twisted reparation for what you've done? Or you just looking for a chance to sow some chaos? Kill Reed if you must, or talk him into leaving if you can. He and I are not sharing the same four walls together. Tell Reed that I can make his people healthy again. I can end their plague. Start a new garden right in the cannery. 3 square meals for every man and woman in Edgewater. Tell him how I've made the Vale bloom again. The soil has whispered its secrets to me, and I alone know how to breathe life back into the earth. The secret is human corpses. I've been grinding them up in my fertilizer for years. Marauder, worker, don't matter much to me. The human body is rich with nutrients.
Mais c'est dégueulasse, madame!
I have got a means to cure the plague, and I will not share that cure until Reed leaves town. Those are my terms.
Très bien. Bah faisons cela. Ma petite Adélaïde. Bon, alors. Thomas.
One of us want to go see.
Everybody keeps staring at me. It's not my fault the power's dead. Whoa, Miss Parvati. Hey, you're, what, how are you? Hi, hello.
Are you, are things safe out here? How are you keeping?
Great, just great. I've been trying to keep stuff running, just like you. Only I'm not so... Wait, they didn't kick you out, did they?
Oh gosh, no, I'm just along with this fella here.
I've seen you wandering around here. You don't look like you're coming from town. Sorry, I just wasn't sure if you were from town or if you were one of us. Something's been chewing at me, you see. Fact is, I've been, well, lying. To everybody here. Camp thinks I'm a mechanical genius, but I couldn't fix a busted chair. I'll take all the help I can get. I set my mind to learning the craft of the engineer, you see. I want to make something of myself. You ever heard of the Young Spacer's Guide to Mechanical Engineering? Comes in a set of 3. If I had my hands on one of those data pads, I could teach myself the ins and outs.
Those are good.
Ouais, encore une quête.
My dad kept a copy with him when he was working in the cannery.
I know the old community center kept a copy. Should find another one back in town. If you could find me even one of those pads, I'd be greatly obliged. I wish I knew. I wager the town had the full set once upon a time. Where the third's gone, I can't say.
Mhm.
Would you? I'd be grateful. I've been thinking about going back. I'm not much use to anybody here. I get sick thinking about working at the cannery. I can't do that again. I mentioned those manuals on mechanical engineering. Suppose if I had one of those, I could go back to Reed and make a real case for myself. What's on your mind?
Mhm.
Luck, mostly. Nothing's needed serious repairing yet. Nothing's broken down that we can't just replace with something scavenged from the outskirts. Well, not until the power went and cut out. Now everyone's giving me sidelong looks, expecting me to work some miracle and get the generator humming again.
Très bien. T'es vraiment une brêle, Thomas.
Marauders can't see us in the dark. Wild canids, on the other hand. The matter's been weighing on me. I'm staying put until I know what's become of Zoe. Don't want that question haunting me all the way back to the cannery.
Ouais, bon, d'accord, on a compris. Hein. Faut faire leur foutue quête pour pouvoir... Alors, attends.
I'm not in the lightest... I'll tell you... What is it?
Ouais, enfin bref. Vous faites chier les gens, là. Alors, électricité fut. Conflict déserteur, éliminé Reed Thompson. Et ben, vous savez quoi? On va aller voir Monsieur Reed. On va voir si on peut faire quelque chose. Parce que de toute façon... Ah, quoique, attends, ça c'est où ça? Attends. Ah, ça c'est juste à côté, oui. Ouais, autant aller voir. Ok, d'accord. C'est jour J, Zoé. Aujourd'hui, tu vas enfin prendre tes seins en main. Ça fait... j'entends Grace, c'est plein de maraudeurs. Ok. Ouais. D'accord. Terror on Monarch. Quoi? Qu'est-ce que tu me mates là, vieille folle? Ouais. Ouais, une poule. Alors attends, trouver C'est qui ce Stéphane Garcia là?
Don't see why Thomas can't just get the generator up and running. Something I can help you with? You mean Zoe? Yeah, we were pretty close. Not like her to go loping off. Can't say I recall Zoe ever acting strange. Well, except for her habit of writing things down on scraps of paper. She called it journaling, but I think it's just plain odd. You sound like some type of corporate fixer asking all these questions. Zoe and I were gonna watch the serials, as is our custom. She never turned up.
Ok. Bon, en fait, Monsieur Thompson, on ira le voir plus tard. Je vais déjà faire cette mission-là. Et d'ailleurs, il est quelle heure? Ah bah, on finira ça là-dessus. Je vais aller flinguer des Mongols. Oula, il a pas l'air gentil, lui. Allez, crève, sale bête. Oula, je l'ai éclaté en fait. Allez, crève là. Et lui, il a perdu vraiment tous ses bouts là. Ow! Sérieusement? Et bah c'est sur ça que ça se finira. C'est que c'était pas le bon moment. Bon, bah merci à tous d'avoir suivi le live. Je vous donne rendez-vous la semaine prochaine à la même heure. Et surtout, n'oubliez pas...
C'est que vous avez révélé la vérité. Faites-en ce que vous voulez.